Welcome to the Acquisition Planning Introduction Training. Last weekend, I decided to take my family camping. I began planning the trip and quickly realized that I had a lot of factors to consider if our trip was going to be fun and relaxing. So I began to plan. First, I recognized the need for supplies, services, and the logistics for our vacation. I identified the amenities we needed like campsite, showers, and general store for miscellaneous items that we might need while we're there. Then, I did some market research and found common camping mistakes. From this, I decided to utilize any existing resources that we already had, so I packed food, water, cooking supplies, and bedding. Then, I planned the logistics to safely mobilize and transport our family to our destination. So, I rented a car, fueled the car, packed the car with our supplies, and mapped out our route in advance. If I had forgotten a critical item in this planning phase, our relaxing trip would have turned into an expensive and stressful experience. But because the trip was well planned, we ended up having a great time. Camping and acquisition planning have more in common than most people think. Like camping, when you begin acquisition planning, it's important to plan as far in advance as possible to ensure you don't forget any critical parts of the process. How much advanced planning you will need to perform depends largely on the size, scope, and complexity of the acquisition. Whether your contract is for office supplies or for a large multi-million-dollar mission support contract, planning is absolutely essential if you want to avoid costly mistakes. How accurately you plan ahead will determine how efficiently and effectively you will be soliciting, evaluating, and awarding contracts. A poorly planned acquisition is more likely to cost you wasted time, effort, expenditures, and increased levels of frustration. To avoid these mistakes and frustrating situations, you can remember the acronym RIAMA. That's recognize the need, identify the team, assess risk, market research, and acquisition planning. During the beginning phases of acquisition planning, you can begin the process by asking some basic questions. Under recognizing the need, ask, what problem are you solving? And what is the mission requirement being fulfilled? Under identify the team, ask, who are you supporting? Who is supporting you? Who is the COR? Who is the using organization's representative, and when should they become involved? Under assess risk, ask, what risks are obvious and what risks are not so obvious? Is the requirement technically complex, expensive, and/or does it require a high level of support? And what can the government do to reduce these risks? Under market research, ask, are there sources within the commercial marketplace to provide the product or service? How much does it cost? How long does it take to deliver? What are the commercial terms and conditions normally associated with its purchase? And under acquisition planning, ask questions like, what are the cost estimates? What are the ideal periods of performance? Can this acquisition be set aside for small business? How complex do the evaluation procedures need to be to ensure our end product meets the desired technical capability, performance characteristics, and performance functionality? Are there any logistical concerns? These 5 foundation-level job tasks are the topic for acquisition planning training. Once you instinctively know the first 5 steps of the acquisition planning process, you will find yourself asking the right questions, working more efficiently in contracting teams, and efficiently soliciting and awarding contracts. You will also reduce the number of acquisition document rewrites, recoordinations, and the levels, which require you to participate in long, unscheduled meetings and phone conversations to resolve problems will decrease also. And the best part is that these 5 steps will provide you with a systematic way to approach each and every contract you write.